So A+ for the Eagles for their draft this year. Obviously starts with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean at the top. What was it that you love so much about what the Eagles did?
I mean, it is those two guys that sort of set the tone. I mean, if they would have drafted nobody after those first two guys, I think I still would have
Yeah.
given the Eagles an A for how they went navigating this. Now, you can say that there's some luck that goes into that, right? There's a lot of teams that passed on these players for them to be available, but Philly still navigated the draft very well. I think that we saw what was the 49ers who kind of put out the Adam, or no, it was Washington, right? Who put out the
Yes.
Adam Peters video of him going back and forth with Howie Roseman, and Howie's just like, all right, okay, all right, hangs up the phone. Okay, the deal's different. Okay, now hangs up the phone. And like you could just how Howie works it. It's not just the fact that DeJean was available, it's how they go about getting him and at a really nice value. And that continues to allow the Eagles to have a lot of picks, be aggressive when they want to during these draft processes. So look, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean were my number 8 and number 9 overall players that I had in the class. And they get both of these guys, much, much, much later in the 20s and then number 40. So the value alone was so big for them. Then you throw in the fact that this was Philly's, I don't want to say this was their only area of need, but like this is the area of need that they had to hit hard. And they do that with two of the biggest steals in the draft, in my opinion. It gives them a ton of secondary flexibility. It allows them to kind of do what they want with the rest of the defense. Obviously, with Vic now in there calling the defensive stuff, you want to have those versatile players who could do a lot of different things for you. And I know it's tough for rookies to step in on that defensive scheme and really be able to hit the ground running. But if I had to bet on two guys, I mean, it would be these two guys. I mean, my top two corners in the draft for a reason. So to me, I absolutely loved what they were able to do at the top. And then I think, the other players that they got, I think are really good value or really good scheme fits for them, right? I love the Jeremiah Trotter pick, even beyond just the legacy of how heartwarming it is. I like him as a traditional linebacker in the middle. I don't know if he has the athleticism to really be a full-time linebacker at the next level, but he sees the game so well. You give him a chance to be able to be that. Jalen Hunt is one of my favorite developmental edge rushers that we have in this draft. And it's not like Philly needs more defense, good defensive linemen, right? I feel like they're hogging all the high potential guys. But Jalen Hunt from Houston Christian is somebody who, man, he played safety early on in his college career. And then he moves down to the defensive end spot. He plays very, very well. You could tell that this, kind of like the conversation we were having a minute ago, a player who is just winning off of athleticism right now. But if you teach him those pass rush plans, he is a dense dude, man. I mean, like when he makes contact with you, you could just see it on film. It's like you're hitting a brick wall. And it's just like, that's just the muscle density that this dude has. He is so twitched up. The ceiling is so high for him. So even as just a specialized pass rusher, I think he's a fantastic pick. And then you got the two skill position guys, Anaya Smith and Johnny Wilson, two players that I think could really stand out in this league. I think Wilson is a smooth mover for a player who is 6'6", 6'7", and Anaya Smith, to me, has a really good skill set, especially a ball carrier vision to potentially be a full-time kick returner with these new kick return rules. So it's why you just go
It's
down
like
the
your
line,
dream
and not
zone.
only do I like the, yeah, I mean, like, and that's why it's an A+ for me, because it's just like every single position, either it was excellent value, either it was an excellent fit, or it's a swing for the fences type of talent pick that I really loved. And you see that throughout this draft from Howie Roseman, and that's why I had to give them an A+.
Now, I'm curious specifically about Cooper DeJean here, and first off, I'll say this to you: great job on the draft guide, graphically, the write ups, the data there. It was awesome to read. Cooper DeJean specifically, you were probably higher on than industry consensus, considering him a top 10 player. I believe he was your top corner in the draft. And it seemed based on your work that you did not have reservations about him playing on the outside. What specifically about Cooper DeJean made you confident that he was that high on your board?
There are some players that I think could play outside corner better than him. Like I think Terry Arnold's a little bit more twitchy. Quinyon Mitchell is somebody who I think has a little bit better stop-start athleticism to him to maybe play, in the hip pocket when you're playing man coverage on the outside against NFL receivers with NFL speed. But I think that DeJean's speed is adequate enough to play on the outside. Will he give up a couple of catches that maybe other corners wouldn't? Sure. Okay, I will admit that. But it's the fact that it's this rare versatility that he has. You know, it's the fast footwork while being 205 pounds and over 6 feet and over between 6'1" and 6'2", right? I mean, like it's the fact that this guy is not afraid at all to be physical and come up to tackle, right? Because I think a lot of people look at corners and when we evaluate them during the draft and they go, okay, you know, I don't really love this guy. He's not really big enough to play on the outside. Let me call him a slot corner. Let me just move him inside. You got to realize that if you play slot corner, you're closer to the line of scrimmage. You got to fit the run, right? I mean, you're much closer to the box. And so for DeJean, that's such a big plus for me because he's one of the best tackling corners, if not the best tackling corner that we had in this past draft class. So not only will he come up on wide receiver screens when he's an outside corner, he'll come downhill and tackle these guys. If you ever put him in the slot and you wanted to slide him in that direction, he is fitting the run better than most corners, or I would argue any corner that you were going to find in this draft class. Then you throw in the fact that if you give him space, if you put him in off coverage, if you make him a cover 3 guy, maybe a pseudo safety and a 3 safety set, you allow him to keep his eyes on the quarterback. I mean, the way that he breaks on the ball, the natural athleticism that he has, the elite ball skills, and how he transforms back into a wide receiver and running back that he was throughout his middle school and high school career. I mean, when you transform back into that, the second you get the ball in your hands as a defender, you see production like you saw from him in the return game after interceptions that led to multiple touchdowns as well. So to me, I just think we're not giving enough credit to how versatile this guy is. And even if you can go find some better outside corners than him, it is the fact that I can envision Cooper DeJean being a starter or potentially even an all-pro type of player at outside corner, at slot corner, and at safety. And there's just not many players that I can say that for in almost any draft class. So to me, that's why I loved him so much. Somebody who brings so much to the table as a true chess piece for your defense.
We all silly like the mayor.